What's up, you guys? It's the Q&A show, Fightful Select, a little later in the week. Some of our shows have been shifting, moving around here and there, but you know you're going to get them in. For example, when they do those double shots of NXT UK, Warren will sometimes ask me if he can do the show the next day, and instead of trying to cram 4 episodes of a show into one hour podcast. And of course, I'm going to let him do that. I think his NXT UK review is coming Friday. If you're watching this on Thursday, that means my weekender will come on Saturday. I get a little more time to take that in. Warren and I are filming 2 retro reviews on Friday for upcoming months. I'm taking in a couple other shows, one with Zach, who's a Fightful Select subscriber at that $50 tier, one with John Baez reviewing WrestleMania 3 and 20. So those will be coming in the spring. Lots of cool stuff. This has been the busiest I've been reviewing shows. And it's a good time. And I have another one with Simon, aka Jason. We're gonna do a Q&A show about booking. So I'll put that Q&A field up soon. But we'll be filming a lot with our subscribers soon. Of course, subscribe to that $50 level. You'll get that. We're looking at rolling out some new stuff as well. But get those questions in, guys, especially for that booking Q&A show. I would really love some participation there. But let's go ahead and get into these. WWE needs to give Nakamura a mouthpiece. Who would you go with? I'm leaning towards Heyman or Stokely. Pardon me. I would say Stokely. He's new. You put him on Heyman, there's this level of expectation. Okay, no dead air. I've got a cough, but my mic won't work. How would you book the Horsewoman feud now that the Becky and Charlotte bridge is? You have one of them interfere in the Ronda-Charlotte match. And then as more get involved over the next coming weeks, the others get involved as well. It's Survivor Series weekend. They're all going to be there. It's something you can easily do. Shayna and Jessamine are NXT characters now. Marina and Jessamine. Shayna is what she is. She's a big star in NXT. Ronda is what she is. It's not hard to put together a vignette. Show Ric Flair giving the 4 horsewomen his blessing in MMA. I mean, they were doing it before. So, I mean, that's what it goes on. Them calling the 4 horsewomen of NXT the faux horsewomen. The 4 horsewomen in WWE got to be the baby faces. I mean, it seemed that way with Bayley and Sasha anyway. I mean, Sasha can sometimes seem heelish, and Charlotte doesn't get those type of reactions, but anything that Becky touches is gold right now. And Ronda Rousey's writing her own promos, and they're bad, and they make her look like a dick. So I would definitely go with the horsewomen as the heels. I started following Deonna Purrazzo on Twitter, and her and Marty seem real close. Could this be a reason that Marty jumps to WWE regardless of what Elite do? He was noticeably absent from initial announcements that they would be staying together wherever they decide to go. Yes, it could be. I really think it could be. Also, one of the reasons he was probably noticeably absent, his contract is up a little bit later than most people. Than most people in that group. I think almost everybody's is up at the end of the year except for him. Kenny's is through January. Does Cody's knee injury give the Elite less coverage when deciding whether to jump to WWE? They're not jumping to WWE. They're doing their own thing. What difficulties would this injury give the group during negotiations? None. It's just a meniscus. Injuries like that don't really affect. I mean, if he were a running back in the NFL, sure. But yeah, it's just, it won't affect it. Who would you book as McGregor's next fight? I like James's idea of Cerrone, but I'd like to see a Habib rematch if McGregor would be more attack-minded, as I felt he was worried about Habib's takedown, and rightly so. Cerrone or Gaethje, if you're confident that he's going to want to fight again. Because the thing is, if you're the UFC, you have to book it as if you want him to get a win. That's what you got to do. And Gaethje is not going to take him down. Gaethje could. And that might be a situation where he's like, okay, yeah, I will this time. But I would say Gaethje or, yeah, But I think they're going Gaethje and Pettis. I think that's not a great idea. I think Gaethje was the right idea, but you could do Cerrone. Cerrone's a pretty big name. He wants to go to 155. He wants that fight. They've had words back and forth before. If you don't care, if Conor's not committed, throw him in there with Kevin Lee. If Kevin Lee can withstand some punches and take McGregor down, then it's over. And Kevin Lee's a big, big star in the future of that company. I know a lot of you all don't know him. He's the one that had the staph infection against Tony Ferguson last year and still did very well, but he's 26 years old. GSP thinks the world of him. Over the next 6-7 years, he's going to be a big star. Elite versus Undisputed Era main eventing a takeover. Could that match sell out a bigger arena than usual? Plus, the crowds would be crazy regardless of arenas. They already sell out like 16, 15,000 seat arenas, so could it sell out bigger? Possibly. Like if you're talking to 20, sure. I don't think it's going to happen though. But that's a dream match now. What would you do next with AJ? AJ Styles. Ooh, boy. At this point, I think you have to prep him for a move to Raw. Now, here's the issue. So many times when they do the superstar shakeup, they move over the first set of people, and then they move like 10 other people off TV. And it's not that different than what they had to begin with. It's like switching the entire roster. Can't do that. Switch 6 or 7, switch about 3 girls, switch about 6, 7 guys, maybe a couple tag teams and 4 or 5 singles, and then give him a run on Raw. See how he does on Raw. Put him in the Finn Balor role, because right now Finn Balor, even the crowd reactions he's getting, he's not creatively satisfying. Balor is somebody that you could have on SmackDown. My God, as if we said it again, put either of them with the Balor Club or with the Good Brothers. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. Don't know what the hell they're doing there. EC3 to replace Daniel Bryan in the men's team match, or no chance at all? I feel like Bryan's heel turn isn't as last minute as it seems to be. Plus, EC3 is notably absent from TakeOver. I wouldn't be surprised to see EC3 called up. I would be surprised to see him replacing Daniel Bryan on the men's match. Very surprised. The Daniel Bryan heel turn was last minute. The title change and all that stuff came together over the weekend, and the heel turn was decided the day of, but Daniel Bryan had been pushing for it for a couple of weeks because he didn't want himself to be creatively stifled as well. How would you bring Killer Kross to New Japan Pro Wrestling? I like Killer Kross. I don't like his finish. His finish doesn't make sense. He knows better than that. I think he's done a little MMA training, but that chokehold he does, it just doesn't make sense. He's better than that, but he's a real good talent for Impact to have. If you're doing New Japan, which the thing is, him being in Impact is going to keep him from wrestling in New Japan. I put him in the firing squad, Bullet Club, New Bullet Club. They thrive on having foreign talent that can do well. I don't know many people who would be better fit for Bullet Club than a guy who basically portrays a serial killer. You look at who they have in there. Bad Luck Fale, Ghetto, Hikuleo, Jado, Jay White, Haku essentially, Robbie Eagles, Ishimori, Tamatonga, Tonga Loa. Killer Kross would fit in there, but then if he's not established immediately, you run the risk of them looking like a little bit of a mid-card act. Jay White is not a mid-card act. Tamatonga is not, but they need one more piece, I think. They need one more piece. I don't know if Killer Kross is it, but Killer Kross could fit in the future. Where do you stand on the criticism that Nia Jax is getting? Is she an unsafe worker? Yes, she is. Every girl that I've talked to on the roster has an experience with Nia Jax like that. That's worked with her. She planted the wrong leg on an Asuka backbreaker and dropped Asuka. She dropped Charlotte across her shoulder on her head. She didn't catch Charlotte on a moonsault. She tried to elbow drop Bayley while Bayley was sitting up. She threw Alexa around, got her hurt. threw Zelina out of the ring when Tamina wasn't ready. It just wasn't the right situation. She's not looked as somebody who wants to improve either her physical condition or her in-ring skills. And she's often considered, people that I've talked to said that she's not always the easiest to deal with. So, I mean, I stand basically of the belief that I taught very low-level kickboxing for years, and what I saw was a low-level kickboxing move. It wasn't an attempt to work a punch. I saw a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't closed fist. Man, you do this. I don't care if your thumb's over or not, and you push forward like that. You don't telegraph it at all in a wrestling sense. It's not a work punch, man. It's not a work punch. It was an irresponsible, reckless move that removed one of the biggest matches of WWE's year off the calendar. Will it help Becky get over more as a result? Maybe. Will it help Nia get over more as a result? Maybe. But I don't know if you want to make a habit of this. She wasn't ready when she was called up, and she's not ready now. You want to know the funny thing? I drew a lot of parallels between her and Dana Brooke because Dana Brooke wasn't ready either. Dana Brooke's ready now. Based on what I've seen in the ring over the last month or so, Dana Brooke is more prepared for this situation than Nia Jax is. Should Becky come back and kill Nia Jax when she's healthy? I'm talking surprise return, leave her a bloody mess style beatdown to reboot the Stone Cold Connor McLynch character. Would be a great way to build or remind people she's a legit threat to Ronda. I think that as soon as Becky gets an opportunity, she should walk right into the ring wherever Nia Jax is. If it's at TLC, do it there and armbar her and make her look like a punk. Because Nia Jax made Becky look like a punk. And Becky is the more valuable talent. Younger, better in the ring, more over, all those things. So have Becky come out and make Nia Jax look like a punk. Armbar her immediately. Assuming Becky is still this hot, should Becky versus Ronda close WrestleMania? Hell yeah, it should. That is your WrestleMania main event, and if they don't see that and they try to force Charlotte versus Ronda, if Becky versus anybody isn't in this main event, they're really messing up. They're really messing up. Graham says, given how stiff Brock has been on occasion, do you think he'll be told easy to go on Brian, or told to go easy on Brian in terms of how he handles potential danger of his neck? Or do you think Brian will be the kind of guy that tell him to go full throttle? Both. Brian would tell him to go full throttle, but Brock actually isn't known, or among workers, is known to be kind of light. It's just those suplexes, like the Singh brothers. It's when somebody goes stiff with Brock, then he gets stiff with them. But the suplexes, he was just doing that to show off. So, yeah, I'm sure that somebody will say, hey, I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he's aware of the situation. I saw some Fightful questions in here. Glad to answer these. Has the growth of Fightful started to match Jimmy's original expectations at all? I know Select was introduced to help offset some of the costs, but in terms of numbers of viewers, site, visits, subscriptions, etc., does it make for positive reading in Jimmy's eyes, considering how young the site is compared to many others? I don't think it's a secret this is like a passion project for Jimmy, and to be honest with you, I don't think Jimmy expected to get out of me what he's gotten out of me. I don't think he expected me to have as much news and have the kind of work ethic that I do. And I do that to show him that I care about the investment that he's made, because he put a lot of money into it. And he thought that he could bring over his ad experience to wrestling and just blow everybody out of the water. And that's just not the case. It takes a long time. Wrestling Inc. has 20 years of SEO power. The reason Lords of Pain does more viewers than us, they have 20 years of SEO power and people who have been there forever. Like we struggle to get comments on our discus boards, which, hey, if you guys want to help out Fightful, that's a good way. Join our live chats over there, because we don't have the SEO power. And a lot of people go to these like e-wrestling news and Raja and all this stuff instead of the source of news. And that's something tough to overcome. I think it's getting closer. Select helps. I mean, I thought Select would have 5 subscribers. I really did. Wish it had 1,000. Although doing those retro reviews would be a little bit hard, but It's getting there. Hey, I mean, the first 6 months of Fightful before I saw Jimmy Van face to face, I was terrified. I was like, man, he's just going to pull the plug. Then when I get to know Jimmy, I start to understand that's not what he's about. He understands that he knows that I have a good eye for talent too. Like Warren Hayes, man, have you met a more personable guy? Andrew Thompson is the future of news writing. Jeremy Lambert has great work ethic. David Tease has great work ethic. I told Jimmy we had to have James Lynch. If we want an MMA section with exclusive content, we got to have James Lynch. Carlos Toro started a podcast to interview me about the launch of Fightful, then asked for a job, and I was like, you know what? I like this kid's hustle. I like him. And now he's turned into one of the biggest go-getters, period. You got boxing press conferences where he's sitting over there talking to people, asking these people questions in their native language. And you got these old turds that have been covering boxing forever, never cared to get a translator, never cared to try to learn the language. Carlos is bilingual, man. So in that regard, man, I can't tell you how happy I am with at least some of the people we picked up. There are some things that I look at and see, and I'm like, man, why isn't our stuff getting that type of attention? Because I know our stuff is just as good, if not better. It's just a matter of one day you'll break through, one day you'll get that one particular type of audience, and can it be frustrating at times? Yes, but do I love it? Yeah, man. I'd rather – there are times I get burned out, and then there are times that I'm like, man, I would never want to do anything else. And I know there are times Jimmy gets frustrated, but I think he's coming around. I mean, we have a lot of discussions about stuff like that. In a situation like Roman's, non-wrestling related illnesses, does WWE pay him more than just the usual downside guarantee as he fights, recovers? I'm pretty sure they're taking care of his treatment, but I think he's getting his downside guarantee, merch, all that. Which NXT stars should you see debuting in the Royal Rumble, if any? What potential standoffs or brief pairings would you like to see between NXT and main roster during the Rumble itself? Ooh, let's take a look at this roster. EC3, if he's not yet, would make a good third entrant. I mean, why not, right? Potential face-offs. Ambrose and Rollins will probably be one, even though they're still feuding. Styles and Balor are probably going to be one. Joe and Braun seems like a natural. As far as debut, or well, on the women's side too. Ooh, Becky and Sasha, of course, because they always tease that. They always tease that. Asuka and a big name on Raw because that's what they do. They take a person who they know is over. Asuka and Ember, maybe. I think that would be a good one. As far as people who are getting called up, Bianca Belair, Nikki Cross, full-time Nikki Cross. That wouldn't be surprised to see them. War Raiders eventually, but man, I think they have too many teams like them on the main roster anyway. I think they want Matt Riddle to learn the NXT style a little bit more. I do. If Fabian Eichner didn't have some slip-ups in the ring, I think it would be him. Hopefully not Kona Reeves, man. You know how a lot of times with NXT wrestlers, they'll get that big push, and then it won't work out, and they'll be like, oh, let's bring him up to the main roster. Kona Reeves seems like the type of guy that they'd be like, oh, my God, he's big. Look at him. His motor. Let's bring him up. And then he won't do shit. I could see him, though. If Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli were still together, they would be them. Aleister Black, perhaps a good one. Seems commonly understood that NXT is operating in the red, but that's okay because it's developmental. Isn't the real reason a real problem that they don't cut people? Folks like Angelo Dawkins and Kona Reeves, even Aaliyah, have been around years collecting paychecks while adding no monetary value. Angelo Dawkins does add monetary value. Him and Street Profits are a very good act. Kona Reeves, Aaliyah, sure. I mean, I remember 3 years ago on Breaking Ground, you had the Aaliyah thing. Now she's almost 6 years into her wrestling career, even though she's only 23, she'll be 24 this year, but she's been in developmental for 3.5 years now. So if she can't get better, then I would imagine they'll cut her and they'll say you're young enough. And if she works the indie circuit, maybe they'll bring her back. Kona Reeves, probably the same thing, but I see him going more the route of somebody who isn't that interested in continuing their career. Angelo Dawkins is better than you realize, though. What do you think of the ripple effects of the Evolve roster shuffling? I'm excited that this could be a more widespread practice. Triple H already has a positive relationship with OTT in progress. I like it. It's good. Man, you know what? When Matt was wrestling for Evolve and Flow Slam was a thing, I went to my staff and I said, hey, guys, I would like to cover some of these with Matt on the staff and with Jason Kincaid writing for us. I would really, really like to cover these because I want to capitalize on perhaps a crossover audience there. And when I did that, it got no attention. People just didn't care about who was on their roster. And as that roster has devolved, no pun intended, I knew of Darby Allin and that's it. And I had heard the name Austin Theory. Other than that, I didn't know and I didn't give a shit. Who did I need to cover on those shows? Stokely was gone. The only headlines I had seen out of Evolve that were positive over the last year was social media stuff that Stokely did, and they lost him. That's a killer, man. That is just brutal. So them adding Fabian Eichner, who people at the PC compare to Cesaro, adding the Street Profits, that's good. But yes, it already is happening. You see it in ICW all the time. Based on the latest conference call and his behavior of the last few years, it seems like Triple H is less interested in buying out and stomping the dust into competition and more into controlling and restructuring other companies to create a pathway to NXT. Is this accurate? Yes. And as you mentioned, resuscitate, prop up smaller promotions, profit sharing with them, getting them some exposure, showing them that there is a way to work positively with WWE and putting them on the network. The thing is, WWE doesn't expect you to consume all the content. That's why they don't reference a lot of 205 Live stuff on Raw anymore, because they don't expect you to watch that extra hour all the time. Do you have a chance to hear Gabe Sapolsky on the Rich and Joe on Voices of Wrestling? Don't listen to them. Sorry. I like them. I just don't have the time to listen to them. Gabe straight up said Evolve was dying, barely selling tickets with the latest loss of talent and saturation in the market. Yet with the Triple H connection, Gabe is able to access a batch of new talent to fill out cards, sell tickets, create buzz, remake the brand. Are we heading toward a new twisted future where Triple H is the messiah of the indies? I think we're there. He likes to supplement the indies. Triple H is a very, very good forward-thinking person in a lot of manners. And the funny thing is, I don't know that he was 15 years ago because he was basically a Twitter troll up until he got the reins to hand over developmental. Because if you give Triple H something like that, you better believe he's going to be passionate about it. Say what you want about Triple H and all this stuff about his career and getting to the top. He cares about what he does. He really does. He cares. Whatever he's asked to do, he's going to put his all into. And he was asked to remake developmental, and he didn't just remake developmental. He remade it into a brand and remade it into – he's helped remake the indies in some regard, although he's signing away a lot of people. So, yeah. Because, I mean, he used to troll the crowd straight up and troll internet fans. Now he's catering to them. We all agree that 205, NXT, UK, Evolve, Progress, this whole Triple H mini empire is massively more entertaining than Raw and SmackDown on a regular basis, right? Something for everyone. There's a ton of varied talent. Evolve, I don't watch them. Progress, don't get a lot of time to watch them. 205, yeah, although they could use some more creative stuff there. NXT, yes, for sure. NXT UK hasn't really impressed me that much. I think SmackDown's been better than NXT UK lately. I think VOW also remarked that Triple H was assembling his own brain trust of wrestling minds. Topolsky, William Regal, Adam Pearce, Paul Heyman. I assume Jim Smallman and Glenn Joseph for European talent. Do you foresee Triple H using the same brain trust to boot Vince or Dunn and other Vince cronies? Seems like those dudes are much more in touch with what fans want than the guys Vince leans on. Yeah, add Jeremy Borash to that as well. That was a Triple H hire. Jimmy Van has often suggested an off-season for talent, giving them a few months off every year for health maintenance to give them an instant boost upon return, since everyone gets a pop when they return. Could brand switching be a version of that? Yes. Sending somebody to NXT for a couple months, they do one taping and then they stop working for a couple months. Yes. SmackDown already does it, so no need to do it for SmackDown. But if they're off TV, take them off the road for a couple weeks too. It just needs to happen for Raw. Any chance that Melissa and you reconcile and form a tag team for the Fightful Mixed Match Challenge 2019? No, she's a shit worker. If you had to pick the top 5 wrestlers under 35 to build a company around for the next decade, who would they be and why? Juice Robinson, Matt Riddle, right off the top of my head. Let me look at the rosters. So first off, Juice, Matt Riddle, without a doubt. No question, those two. Braun is 35, so you can't say him. Becky Lynch. Ronda Rousey. Man, all of them in WWE, eh? Okada. Bam. There you go. There you go. Kenny Omega would be up there too. But he's 35 now, so no. Yeah, those are my 5. Not easy either. Matt Riddle, because he brings a level of likability to all of his stuff. Juice Robinson, because he is the most charismatic person I have maybe ever seen. He is incredible promo. Becky Lynch is supremely talented and over to a special degree. Ronda Rousey has crossover appeal. And Okada is, quite frankly, maybe the best wrestler in the world. Been a while since WWE had a massive cut day. Assuming this happens sooner than later, which talent do you think could be on the hot seat and any surprises? Looking up and down, I think the surprise would be Apollo Crews. I think that he is just underdelivered in every category. I don't think he's gotten better in the ring one iota since the moment that he was signed in October, or I think it was October 2014 he got signed. 4 years. And he looked like he could be the next Cena for them, I thought. I thought he could be the smiling babyface. I think Bo Dallas would be a surprise. Curtis Axel, because they've been around so long. The Colognes, I would think so, but I would imagine a part of the new tape library is them retaining a job. The Ascension for sure would be gone. I would have said Noam Dar before NXT UK, but not now. But probably Arya Davari. Maybe Itami as a surprise. Tamina, if they weren't giving her this new push. Dana Brooke, even though I don't think she's gotten a real chance lately. Alicia Fox, even though she's a little out there, but she's well-liked backstage even. I think Eric Bugenhagen out of NXT would probably get cut because he's been out for so long, and you can only hold on to somebody that's been out for so long for so long. I don't know how they feel about Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli now, but to me, here's my take on that. I don't know why you would want Tino Sabatelli at 35 years old when you have Jesse Goddard out there, who is more famous, a better worker, more experience on TV, and is basically what they wanted out of him at 32 years old. Aaliyah could be gone. Those are the main ones. Yep. Oh, on NXT, Blake. Jason Riker. I don't know why they even signed Gunner as opposed to some of the other people either. How long do you see DB holding the title? It's hard to say. That's really hard to say. By the way, I see you in the live chat, John Baez. Thanks for the question. Maybe till Mania. He might work as a heel. Maybe through Mania. Who's the next champ after DB, especially if he's heel? It couldn't be The Miz, right? I don't want to see pandering to the crowd Miz. I don't want to see that. But he could be the new champion. He should have been another. He should have. It's funny because his best run is this run, but he main evented at WrestleMania another time. It's fun. Is Becky's injury a blessing in the fact that it's a way to make horsewomen versus horsewomen happen much sooner rather than later? Yes, in that regard. No, in the fact that she's out. Yes, in the fact that she'll be more over. Who gets the title first? Braun, Drew, or someone, or the infamous somebody else? I think Drew. In a sad way, can this freak accident be the best thing that could happen for Nia? Now more over than ever, she's going to be a hated monster heel, which isn't really that bad in WWE's way of thinking. That's why they tried to put heat on her that night. They were like, a lot of people are pissed at her, but they're like, we got to capitalize on this. Everybody knows it, so let's just go ahead and capitalize on it. What do you think of the way that the Warriors handled the Draymond situation? What impact will this have when it comes to free agent time? He's going to get a good deal somewhere no matter what. He is. And now Kevin Durant and Draymond they're good. They're fine now. They're professionals. It'll work. What did you think of the Jimmy Butler deal, and what does this do for the Eastern Conference? So I'm a Bulls fan. And there are a few things that I love more in life than completely overreacting to things about the NBA, especially draft night trades. Watch my Twitter on draft night. I love overreacting to draft night trades. So when Jimmy Butler, your star player under contract for the next 2 years, is traded for a move up in the draft, Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine, I was like, Zach LaVine with a bad ACL. I was like, man, I don't like this. And the Bulls are not good. I'm not pretending that they are. Zach LaVine is 23 years old. He is averaging 26 points a game. He's 36 minutes a game. And they got him under contract after all that for the next 4 seasons for under $20 million. Boy, am I happy about that. Then Chris Dunn, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, thrilled. Bulls moved up, and instead of taking Justin Patton, they took Lauri Markkanen. You better believe I'm happy about that. For the Sixers, if they re-sign Jimmy Butler, this is a great deal. You need somebody. If Markelle Fultz can come around and you have Fultz, Butler, Simmons, Embiid, that's awesome. The T-Wolves got hosed. Now, it may all be okay if Derrick Rose is what we think he is. And as a Bulls fan, thrilled for Derrick Rose. I love that he is back at all-star level. That's cool. That makes me happy. Getting Saric and Covington, that's a pretty decent return out of somebody you knew you were just going to have for 1 year. Jared Bayless, even on the team, did he get cut? I mean, he hasn't played. He's got a knee injury, but good trade for the Sixers and for the T-Wolves. The Sixers had to give up some young guys, though. You see Jack Swagger returning anytime soon? Nope. MLW and Lucha Underground, he's getting a good run there. Do you ever see PCO having a run in WWE? I think he's been offered an Impact one, but turned it down. I could see him getting an NXT TakeOver match, but I don't think – or a Rumble appearance. I think a Rumble appearance would make a lot of sense. When does Undisputed Era come to the main roster, and do you think that it will depend on what the Elite decides to do? I'd be shocked if Elite signed with WWE. I'd be shocked. Undisputed Era, man, see, the thing is they are so perfect on NXT. I really see them, besides Bullet Club and Elite, as the closest to NWO. I think they need a big guy. But other than that, probably mid next year. Have we seen the last of Hulk Hogan till WrestleMania? Yeah. They know how that played, and they don't like how it played. Do you see Pentagon and Phoenix and WWE by 2020? By 2020, so like before or no? In 2020, perhaps. A lot of it depends on the 205 Live brand, how it hashes out. SRS, I saw the fear in your eyes, the fear of what Melissa will do to you, and the fear of what you're going to do to Melissa. Melissa, if you're watching this, we don't really have to fight. We can work it out. How is it working for other companies before Fightful? And what makes Fightful so much different than companies you work with? So when I did members-only podcasts, back when we were encouraging everybody to register for Fightful, we wanted you on the forums and stuff. Every episode I would talk about working for a place and why I left. It's going to be a while before I do one of those again because we have so many retro reviews backed up, and I've added Q&A shows and all that. So the stories about What Culture are on the members-only podcasts. One Wrestling, a few others, those are there. I worked for One Wrestling largely for free because I wanted to work for Bill Apter. That was it. What Culture was miserable. They lied to me straight up. They lied to me and didn't pay me for a few years for something I was owed. Rant Sports was clunky. Fansided was fine, but it was a machine and you didn't make any money there, and one of the editors didn't like me. So those were poor experiences. Until What Culture straight up lied to me. That was a positive experience. But Rant Sports was fine. Cage Passion Media. Cage Passion Media was a local place that I ran a lot like Fightful. So it wasn't that different. I just didn't have as many resources. That was a joy. Inquisitor, I left there because they changed the pay scale stuff, but I got to do some cool stuff. I got to cover some sports there. I got to cover some politics there. That was fun. I really like stepping out there, and that's what Cage Passion Sports was. Cage Passion Sports let me step out and cover other sports, as did Fansided. I covered extreme ironing at one point. Wrestling Inc., that was... Yeah, I liked it there. I maintained a positive relationship with Raj. People think we feud for some reason. Probably because they don't cite us on their website very much. But Raj's thing is, for somebody who was wanting to take on as much responsibility as I was, I think he wanted more of a commitment. But the thing is, I wanted more of a financial commitment, and he wasn't willing to do that at the time. He's been willing to do that since then, and I've been made several offers to go back there, including one substantially more than Fightful. But the thing is, I only had Jimmy match that offer one time, and then another substantially large offer came in. But the thing is, it's Jimmy's site. Fightful is Jimmy's site, but man, I put so much work into this, and I put so much of me into this, and I'm going live every day so many times and doing podcasts all the time and 70-hour weeks on slow weeks. I would work substantially less and make substantially more there. But the thing is, or would have, I don't think the offer still stands, but man, I'm not leaving something that I helped create and put all of me into. It took one phone call for me to understand that Jimmy was the right person to work for. One phone call. And since then, I've had the opportunity, and I don't think that Raj thought I'd be breaking as much news as I have either. I don't think Jimmy did either. But I asked for a raise one time here, and I won't ask for one again because I want Jimmy to see that I care about his investment and my original word. Vince Russo asked for a raise before he got hired. So you can see the contrast there. Yeah, there are some major differences there. I probably left off a few places I've worked, but yeah, Fightful. I'm with Fightful until either I die or I'm forced out. Can you go into more explanation on how I watch matches and grade them? Since starting to support Fightful, I watch matches like you and Alex do. What should we look for to grade matches better? Well, it's however you want. It's your subjective opinion. That's the thing. Here's what I do. I never understood the star system. it's never one I picked up on. I mean, good for Dave Meltzer. A lot of people have. The way that I do it, I'd go 1 out of 10. And my thing is, I want to start in the middle. I want everybody to start even right in the middle at a 5. If it's real good, it slides up. If it's good, it slides up. Or if there's something I like, it slides up. If it's bad, if it's botchy, it doesn't make sense, it's a problem with psychology, just dumb, it slides down. To me, and I put in my match ratings, the biggest gap is between 5.75 and 6. 6 is what I consider recommended viewing. 7, good match. 8, excellent. 9, you're talking match of the year contender. 10 is a damn near perfect match. Between 4.25 and 5 is like some bad stuff happened in the match. It just wasn't good. 4 or less, probably pretty stinky. You're getting into 3s and 2s. It was an outright offensive match. 2 and 1, we're talking like some horrible shit that should have never made TV. When will it finally be Rusev Day, and what the hell was the point of breaking him and Adam up? No point. Neither on TV anymore. No need. No heat for anybody involved. You got a one-off on SmackDown. If NXT becomes a main roster show and gets its own show on USA or Fox, do you see it being combined with 205 Live? Possibly. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Was Jinder's moment of Brock considered more of a push or a burial? A push for Brock, referencing some stuff last year. Which has the higher chance of main eventing WrestleMania? Ronda and Becky, or Ronda, Becky, Charlotte, Nia 4-way? I think Ronda, Becky, but the last one isn't a bad idea. But, man, you got to do that Horsewoman 4-way. SRS, what do you think will be the biggest moments of NXT War Games and Survivor Series? Braun doing something. Maybe Becky getting involved. And Ricochet jumping off the cage. What TLC match is more likely to happen at TLC? Bryan versus AJ, Seth versus Dean, or everyone's personal favorite other? I don't know what they'd hang up above the ring. Maybe the Shield vest, so I'll say Seth and Dean. What happens at Starrcade now that Becky versus Flair inside the cage won't happen? Shit! You're right, I'm going to that, too. Well, it is a co-branded show. So they've got a lot of options. Not going to be Ronda. Damn it. I'm trying to look here. They don't even have anything announced. Nothing announced for it. You have Miz versus Rusev. That's an interesting match. Guys, thank you all so much. By the way, I think they'll probably throw in Nia or somebody like that. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to post the Q&A field in a couple days for the Q&A booking show that myself and Simon will do. I'm going to get some of those patron podcasts filmed. Myself and Warren Hayes are filming a bunch tomorrow. Might have to double up on the retro reviews. Lots of cool stuff coming your way, guys. Hard to keep up, but I love it. And just really, really enjoy doing these and really enjoy doing the retro reviews. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, we're out.